Resilience, the ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. Got to have it. It's going to happen, but man, we got to excel in it. The cracks of living life, playing in the NFL, fill them with gold, man.
It's time for another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star in Frisco, Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy as the Cowboys take on the Chicago Bears. Another noon kickoff at AT&T Stadium on Sunday. And coach, after a nice win over Detroit a week ago, Chicago also coming off a win on Monday night, so they're riding some momentum in here. I know you expect a strong punch from those Chicago Bears on Sunday.
Definitely. I think they bring their brand of football here to Dallas, and you had to be impressed with what they accomplished Monday night up in New England. And I think it's the value of coming off of bye week. They did some things differently, extremely differently. Against New England, especially their offense versus defense. So, that's where we got our sights set on. But at the end of the day, we need to take a step as a football team. This is an opportunity for us to improve. We did some really good things against the Lions, but I thought the Lions played us tough in some situations, and particularly some areas of the fundamentals that I think it'll end up being a good learning experience for us, and hopefully we can grow and go out and play our best football game so far this year.
The second half against the Lions last week, it was kind of the definition of complementary football, starting with Trayvon's pick to start the half. We got the run game going as well on that initial drive, and in all 5 takeaways in the second half of that game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, obviously the score at halftime was 6-3, but I think the big plays were 8-8. It was 8 big plays for both teams. So it was a very balanced game. But I love this locker room. Just their levelness at halftime. Obviously the energy and the attitude was they didn't blink, and obviously Trayvon really got us going there with that interception.
And the return of Dak last week, and now he's got that game under his belt, a full week of practice as well this week. It is so nice to have him back, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And this is what he needs. He just needs the live reps. He needs the particularly in the perimeter game, in the passing game. So, we have a really good plan for the Bears, and he had an excellent week.
What about Matt Eberflus's defense in particular at Chicago? Of course, Roquan Smith in the middle there. They've got some ball hawks in the secondary. Eddie Jackson's been a ball hawk throughout his career. A couple of young guys as well. What do you expect seeing?
It's a good front. Obviously, Eddie Jackson's a fine player that I've competed against a number of times in the past. So I have great respect for him. And I think that the thing you look for is it's a system that's well rehearsed. I mean, they do a really good job of staying true to the system. They have pressures that are protection beaters. So there's some history that goes with this system, and those are the things that we're really focused on. But they play the right way. They play with really good energy. It's a good tackling defense. Play a lot of vision, a lot of vision defense. So what that is, the hits on the ball. They do a good job of rallying, triangle on the ball, hits on the ball. So our ball security, which is a primary priority every week, but is a primary focus for us this week.
And how about the run game? When you look at Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, scrimmage yards this year, they're about even. One's got 475, one's got 480. It's really a nice 1-2 punch, and if one can't go, the other can take up the load.
Definitely. I think it's just a reflection of how we feel about them. I think and how Kellen views them. I mean, just the ability to call plays, and it doesn't matter who's in the game. And that's a huge strength to have as an offense. So when you have 2 premier running backs that you run your system with, and you may have one that's a little better at this wrinkle or one's a little better in that wrinkle, but for the most part, to be able to play with that type of rhythm and timing, it really helps us offensively.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. The University of North Texas, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, an NRG company.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones now joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, Sports Day, DFW.com. We had the anniversary this week of a special moment in Cowboys and NFL history. 20 years ago, it was Emmitt Smith breaking Walter Payton's all-time rushing record, and at the same time, here's Ezekiel Elliott going through an injury. There is a parallel between Emmitt and Zeke and durability in their career, isn't there not?
Yeah, a little bit of irony we're bringing up this week where I think Ezekiel Elliott's ability to play is really in question with that hyperextended knee. But to me, that's the least appreciated quality of great players a lot of times, is durability and just putting yourself out there week in and week out. And anyone who's played this game will tell you everyone is dealing with an injury, and they have so much respect for players who just don't miss games. Ezekiel Elliott's been one of those players. You know, going into this game this weekend against Chicago, he's only missed one game in his Cowboys career due to an injury, and that was a calf injury back in 2020. But this knee is something that could keep him out. And we were talking to Ezekiel this week. I thought it was interesting. We asked him about the pride he takes in being there for his teammates, and we asked him how he fights through the pain, and he said pain is temporary. I tend to disagree with some of the pain I have suffered, which is not close to what he's suffering. But
yeah, and Emmitt had that same philosophy in his career. Okay, so Tony Pollard, we saw it last week where it was pretty much an even distribution. Pollard actually had more carries than or more snaps than Zeke did in the game last week. Tony Pollard carrying the full load. What do you think?
Yeah, true tandem this year, unlike we've seen, and Pollard's been outstanding. But now you look at his career. He's never had more than 14 carries from scrimmage during his Cowboys career. You go back to college, he never had more than 17 carries from scrimmage. Is it realistic to expect him to carry 20 to 22 times? I think for one game, yes. I don't think there's any question. And Tony was asked that repeatedly when we spoke to him this week. He grinned about the third or fourth time and said he could handle the load. And he said, if they call it, I'm going to haul it.
Okay, I love that line. All right, only 25 pass attempts from Dak Prescott a week ago. Can we see this being a trend at all?
I don't think this low. This is a better running offense than they've had over the last 2 to 3 years, which will limit the passing attempts, ideally, if everything is working the way they like. But, this 25 pass attempts, if you want to put it in perspective, that is, there have only been 3 games in the last 58 regular season games where Dak Prescott has had fewer pass attempts. One of those was that New York game where he was taken off on a cart a few years ago. So highly uncharacteristic. I think 30 to 34 in that range is really more what you're looking at.
And really, they're trying to increase the number of offensive snaps altogether.
Yeah, that's down about 8 to 9 snaps a game this year. And very quickly, Mike McCarthy looks at it. To distribute the ball 55 times a game on rushing attempts and completions. Even with the fewer attempts last week, they were right around 51-52. So percentage-wise, they were doing good.
And, of course, you got to be better on third down in that case.
Yeah, that's a big thing in that.
David Moore, we appreciate it. And much more, the Mike McCarthy Show, still to come.
This segment is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Trusted by millions. Trusted by America's team.
Sam Williams, defensive line. The biggest lesson I really learned was patience. Like during the seasons, I had to have a lot of patience just to wait for my chance to show what I can do. Just patience. Just by staying ready. You see, I don't know, I just never know when. So I do everything it takes, like the studying, the film watching, the meeting with coach, the extra work. So when that opportunity do come, it's not can I do it? I'm gonna do it without a question. I remember it was actually the Detroit game when I asked because I was trying to go power, but I was it wasn't working. And I was explaining how he was saying to me, and then they told me what to do, and I did it, and it worked. Just owning my role like I've been doing, and just being ready whenever my number's called. A lot, like film, I'm learning like which run is which. I'm learning like different things with motions and stuff like that. It's slowing down a lot. Like, I like it. I'm starting to like learn football for real. They got a great offense. They got explosive offense, so we just gotta limit the explosives. Well, it all starts where we trust our instincts and the coaching that we have to just do our job. If we do our job, I mean, there's not much anybody can do.
Sam Williams and the rest of the Dallas defense trying to contain Justin Fields. We've got Will McClay to break down not only the Bears offense, but the defense. Let's start on offense, and the Bears do love to run the football.
That's right. Coach Eberflus came from here, part of that tree. They want to play great defense and run the ball. They got two great running backs. Here we have Herbert. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. We'll look at him right here, just his ability and his patience. You'll see the blocking scheme, and then watch his vision right here on the cutback lane, and then puts his foot in the ground, gets north and south, and he runs through arm tackles.
All right, so that was Khalil Herbert, who ran for 157 yards against the Texans in that game. The other guy that they have, David Montgomery out of Iowa State against Green Bay, he had 122 in this game.
Yes, and we'll see part of that. You're going to watch him here. And his ability, what he has is this great ability to jump cut, to gain space. There you go. Then he's able to break tackles, and he covers up the football. He's a hard runner. We've got to be prepared for that.
So they've got a couple of running backs who can go for 100 yards in a game, and they've got a quarterback in Justin Fields in his second year out of Ohio State who can do the same thing.
He can throw the ball, but he can run too. Here, what you want to do with these athletic quarterbacks is have rush lane discipline, keep them in the pocket. Here, the Patriots have it. They got him in the pocket, but what you have to do is you've got to get him on the ground. He's explosive. He's their second leading rusher, and plays like that are why he's such a weapon.
They really had him contained there. That was probably his breakout game last Monday night against the Patriots. All right, here he is in the pass game.
Yeah, what he is a great athlete, but what he does also is throw a great deep ball. We're going to look at Mooney here. They're going to see single high coverage. They're going to play action. He's going to drop back, and the arc and the touch on this throw, a great throw, an explosive play. We have to be prepared for that too.
And Mooney with that speed of 4.38, I think, speed, and he can stretch a defense that way. All right, on defense for the Bears, guy in the middle, Roquan Smith. Great player, super instinctive, run and pass. Here we're going to look at him here. He's going to read and understand what's going to happen to him. They're down on the goal line. He's going to, supposed to get blocked here. He's going to exploit the gap, shoot the gap, and get a negative play. All right, there's some instincts there as he's lined up on the line of scrimmage. What about him on this play? Here he is showing his instincts in the passing game. They're in a zone. You'll see him read the quarterback's eyes. Quarterback moves him to the center of the field, but then he switches his eyes and he gets a great break, and then there's an interception off of the tip. But the instincts, the reactions, the athleticism, great player for their defense. Just an idea of what the Cowboys are going to be facing in these Bears, both on offense and defense. Our thanks to Will McClay, and the head coach rejoins us when the Mike McCarthy Show continues in a moment.
This segment was brought to you by Blockchain.com. Trusted by millions. Trusted by America's team. This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. As the coach rejoins us here inside the Globe Life studio, we heard Will McClay talking about some of those weapons that the Bears have on offense. And how about the quarterback, Justin Fields? He had a very nice game on Monday night against New England.
He really did. I thought he was really very, very impressive. Played with great confidence. Obviously, the big playability, but I thought once they got going and got the lead there, you could see their confidence as a football team just really rose, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. So exceptional athlete. I had a chance to be at his pro day at Ohio State a few years back, and it was just so impressive. But you know, he's a big athlete, but he can really run. I mean, I think he ran like 4.41 that day, and he slipped on the start. So I mean, and that's what we're preparing for. You know, we actually had C.J. Goodwin do some quarterback runs in practice, and just to try to feel the speed and just make sure we're ready to go.
And of course, the running game, they got a couple of guys who have gone for over 100 yards in games this year, Khalil Herbert, as well as David Montgomery. How much stress, though, does it put on a defense to have that quarterback run game going along with those backs?
Well, look at their numbers. I mean, their numbers in the run game speak for themselves, and I think they have, you know, a similar situation to us that they can line up and just play with both those backs too. So it's an excellent compliment.
All right, made an acquisition this week from the Las Vegas Raiders. Big Jonathan Hankins is now a Dallas Cowboy. That brings a smile to the coach's face. Can't have enough big bodies in the building, you say?
Oh, no doubt about it. I just think, you know, when you look at our defensive line and, you know, not only the way they compete, but the competition to be a part of the 48, I think it's a very healthy, you know, challenging situation for us. But Jonathan just, you know, he brings us and really an anchor player inside, and you know, and I tell the defense this quite often. You know, if I was game playing against our defense, you know, I'd try to run it downhill in misdirection as much as possible, because, you know, just because of our pass rush and our ability in our pass defense. So I think we, you know, definitely made an excellent choice there, and he brings a, you know, wealth of experience. You know, compete against them both at New York and with the Raiders. So he's an excellent addition.
All right, I want to talk about Micah. We could talk about Micah Parsons every week, but there's one play in particular from last week, and you called it the play of the game. It's a play that can be used on a coaching reel for athletes in all sports. The way Micah Parsons was able to run down the Lions tight end Brock Wright at the goal line, and then good things happen after you make a play like that.
No doubt about it. I mean, we talk a lot about adversity advancement, and we're talking more about the end of the game. But there's plays in games, even as early as the third quarter, that can really affect the game. You know, you have your momentum plays, you have your momentum series, you have the ebb and flow that goes up and down. But you look at that sequence of plays. I mean, Mike, and it starts with Micah making that play on the tight end screen. So to make that stop, and then obviously we get the fumble, you know, the next play, and then, you know, we come off the goal line with the rollout pass to Tony, and then go down and score. So I mean, that was a huge sequence, and I thought really affected the momentum of the game, and it started with Micah.
Yep. Yeah, amazing athlete, and it shows what can happen when you make a play like that. All right, we wrap up the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
Final couple of minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Unsung Star of the Week, and I'm going to go with Jordan Lewis. And of course, Jordan suffered the season-ending injury against Detroit, and I know everybody in this building has utmost respect for what Jordan Lewis has contributed to this team. Oh, absolutely. I mean, Jordan Lewis, you know, he's exactly what you're looking for to exemplify, you know, a Dallas Cowboy. I mean, his approach, his toughness, you know, his professionalism, hard work. He's always here in the offseason. He's outstanding for our young players. You know, he really carries the torch of what's gone on here in the past. So yeah, that was definitely a big blow for us. Yeah, and of course he made a big play on the play that he was injured, getting the interception. So what do you do with Jordan Lewis now out for the year? Well, you know, that's why we play the game, Bill. We won't give away any secrets here. But we will have 11 out there, I can promise. One guy that did step up earlier this year when Jordan couldn't go in a game was Deron Bland, and he's shown a little bit. Deron's doing a great job. He'll be ready to go. You know, obviously Kelvin Joseph's, you know, another option. And, you know, we love our young guys. You know, Nashawn, you know, hasn't had an opportunity yet this year, but our young players are really improving, and you know, this is an opportunity for those guys to step up. So tune in at noon on Sunday, and you'll find out who will be stepping up, who next man up is. Coach, we appreciate it. We appreciate all of you joining us here for the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by Blockchain.com. Trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.